Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. So the mini readings went over really, really well. So I'm going to do more of that for this week. I will flip back and forth between, in-depth readings and mini readings and pendulums and channeling, just to kind of keep things mixed up a little bit. I really upset a lot of people with the video about royals. Sorry about that. I tell you what I told. Beyond that, I got the Alberta election really wrong. So I'm not only profoundly disappointed personally, I'm not very amused, I guess, professionally. So Danielle Smith, in fact, won the Alberta federal or provincial election yesterday. Danielle Smith is she's a little too right for most people's comfort, but apparently, um, what she tapped into it sort of seems like was that, that independence and, we don't want the federal government telling us what to do. And I'm not going to go into a rant about that because it just makes me crazy. But so what I want to do is I'm going to do a quick mini read now and see what Alberta is going to be dealing with, looking like what's going to happen in the next 4 years while she is in office. Now, apparently, the NDP have given her a really strong minority, so they're opposition. Um, and apparently the strongest one Alberta's ever had because Alberta typically is like sort of like a lot like Texas. It just always goes, right, center, right and way right. Um, so I mean that's a good thing. But let's take a look. I want to see Alberta for the next 4 years. All right, here we go. Alberta, next 4 years under Smith. Alberta, next 4 years under Smith. Alberta, next 4 years under Smith. Okay. Um, Starting off with the Five of Pentacles, which is not great. Um, but what it's talking about is not necessarily, it's talking more about the fact that there are groups of people who really, really feel like they have been left behind or their voice has been ignored. And in order for her to be successful, she is going to have to figure out a way to speak to all the people of Alberta as opposed to the ones that voted for her. And that looks like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge for her. So it's really interesting because, and it also looks like there's going to be a lot of consternation or discussion about Alberta's resources. So, the oil industry, et cetera, et cetera. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how she sort of walks that line because she feels that because we have the resources we have, we should have a much louder voice in the federal government. And I don't disagree with that. But it's going to be interesting because so far her antic has been just aggressive. One of the things that I read this morning said she's the first politician who truly has been elected on a platform of hate, a platform of, you know, dissatisfaction and anger. So it's going to be interesting how sees how she manages that. And there's just a couple things going for her. So the Empress is here, and that's about abundance, etc. So it feels like I don't know if I want to say because of or in spite of um, Danielle Smith, Alberta is going to continue to be prosperous and continue to grow in its prosperity. When she starts to get a little too extreme, what you're gonna have is you're gonna have the hangman here. So what you're gonna have is people sort of stepping up and kind of really insisting that she sort of looks at things in a different way, kind of blocking her path, slowing her down, not letting her, kind of go off to the races, with some of her ideas, which include, for those of you who are not Albertan, which include things like removing Alberta residents from the Canadian Pension Fund and just creating one of our own here. Um, it's sort of that kind of thing, and you got to wonder about people who um voted for her, if they actually how they actually feel about that, what they think about that. Okay, and so four swords. So this is what this is telling me is that it's going to be a little tricky. She's going to have to really, really figure out how to talk to all Albertans, because she really wasn't in the last 6 months. She was really, really just talking to her party because she was so aware of the fact that there was an election coming up, and she was wanting to win that election. So it's going to be interesting to see how she makes that transition, and how Alberta fares as a result of it. Okay, so that's it. Um, expect sort of a couple of videos sort of every day, or so, this week. Thanks for being here. Take good care. Bye bye.